Everyone's been talking about Gemini 3, which is Google's brand new AI model. And I'm genuinely curious to see if this is something that is actually better than Claude Sonnet 4.5, which in my opinion was the previously best AI coding model. So in this video, I am going to put it to the test. I want to see if it's actually good, if it's something that I'm going to start using over Anthropic's models, especially for more complex AI coding tasks. And I'm going to test it in two use cases. We're going to build a landing page, like a marketing landing page, to test its design and UI capabilities. And then we're also going to see how it does building a full stack application. And we're going to go start to finish in both of these use cases. I've always been impressed in the past with previous models from Google as well. So like 2.5 Pro, for example, which was the previous best Google model. So I'm really curious to see how much better it may have gotten with 3.0. I'm not just going to hype it up in this video. I'm genuinely curious to see if it's good and how well it performs in those two different types of tasks, because those are the types of tasks that I'm doing pretty much every single day for my own businesses. So let's jump in here. We're going to do a landing page first. I'm going to use AI Studio. I really like AI Studio for prototyping with Google's AI models. I highly recommend it. It's just ai.dev and it's very cheap or free to use in many use cases. So we're going to go to the build tab. And here, this is where you can build websites and apps, and it's going to use Gemini 3 Pro. And it's actually going to be completely free to use. I see it's not charging me, I don't think. There might be a limit where after a few times it'll say, hey, to continue, enter an API key, which is fine as well. I have that set up in AI Studio, so that makes it really easy. But let's see how well it does. And I'm going to try to come up with a pretty good prompt. And then we could also, maybe at the same time, I'll have like Claude do the same prompt, and then we can compare just from like a design perspective to see what works best. So I'm testing this with a really detailed prompt. The reason I'm doing this is I want to see how well Gemini is able to adhere to like specific requests. I used Claude to generate this prompt. This is way more detailed than I normally go when I'm creating landing pages. So let's see. I'm curious if we give it a lot of detail, how well it's going to do. So we're going to go ahead and send this off, and then I can describe kind of what it is. It's basically, I wanted to create a landing page for an AI-powered to-do list app, and then it describes in detail each section of what it should design. And at the same time, I'm having Claude do a landing page with the exact same prompt. We'll come back in a second and see both results. So here in AI Studio, we have our first version of our landing page. This is actually really good. I'll be curious to see how it compares to Claude, to see if there's like a major difference of maybe it was just a really good prompt. But there's a couple things that stand out to me here. First, like just these little subtle animations you can see as I have my mouse near this image. That's really nice. I'll actually refresh just so you can see some of the other animation. All the animations that kind of come in as you scroll down, I think are really nice. It built an entire mock-up of the actual app here, which is kind of amazing. It just like took the landing page and built a mock-up. Like this is code. It looks like a screenshot, but it's actually code that it built. I really like the way that it has everything animate in again. And yeah, overall, like this is quite good. Now we could ask it to iterate, but before we do that, let's see how Claude is. So here we are with Claude's landing page, and I can see it is similar because it was such a detailed prompt. So it's going off of the prompts that it was given. So, okay, overall, I would say this is still good from Claude, but there are a couple things that I actually do think Gemini 3 did better. So let's go back and forth. So first of all, I think the design is just like a step up. Look at the way that this hovers. I like the kind of gradient background that it has around this little design. I think like the design that it created, the fake design here, screenshot, is better than this. It just overall feels a little bit more polished. Even this button here, you can see the way that the text doesn't contrast correctly because it's dark instead of white text here. If we go back here, you can see it all looks, in my opinion, more professional. The way that it's centered versus this, overall, like I think it's better. I like the icons better here, how it used different colors. I just think that the fonts that they use are better. Again, here, I think that it did a better job of generating this mockup inside the mockup, inside the landing page. Let's see if we go down a little bit more. Yeah, and I just think this looks, maybe it's just because I'm so used to seeing things built with Claude, but I feel like this just feels a little bit more like AI generated. And this feels a little bit more human generated and just like a little bit better and more polished. So yeah, that's my impression of this landing page. So there's a prompt that I like to use sometimes to take things to the next level. So I'm curious to test it on both of these again, and we'll give Claude one more chance. So this I'm sending off is saying to take it to the next level by making sure it doesn't feel like an AI generated site. I want it to feel unique and not like something AI could have just generated. And I'm going to go to Claude and say the exact same thing. So this is a prompt that I've found has worked well in the past for me. I've built other landing pages, and sometimes doing something like this can just have the prompt and have the AI start thinking about things in a little bit of a different way. And here we can see what Claude is saying. It says, now I understand the previous design were too safe and predictable. Let me create something truly distinctive with a bold editorial magazine aesthetic, unexpected layouts, and memorable visual moments. And then with an AI studio, it doesn't really tell you, you have to look in, it's going to have its thinking, and it's going to kind of think about all of the tweaks it's going to make, but it doesn't have this like response to say, okay, I know what you mean, let's do it. So yeah, anyway, let's see what we get with both of these landing page designs. And then after this, we're going to move on to building a full stack app and see how well Gemini 3 does. Actually building an app with logic, not just building the landing page. So we can actually take this idea, and then I know it's everyone seems to do a to-do list app, but we're going to add AI on top of it to make it more interesting. And we're going to see how well it does to actually turn this idea into a reality. My goal with this channel is to give you the latest and most up-to-date AI education. We're going to learn together and see what tools work best, what models work best. So let me know in the comments. I'd love to know if you think this is good. As I'm building and continuing to build out, just let me know what's working for you and if you think you would use Gemini 3 yourself. So we'd be really curious to hear what you think. So it's more of a conversation and not just me speaking to the camera. Here we are in the second version from Gemini. So just go back and forth. First of all, in AI Studio, I mean, overall, it's really impressive. So again, it has really nice animations, really nice hover effects on these buttons. If I scroll down, I really like this, like it just gets the problem across. The underline that it added is really cool. So then in this section, I think it changed this section a little bit just to add some more like animations and make it look a little bit different. This section I actually don't love, but yeah, I see where it was going. This, okay, it turned this into dark mode. This looks amazing. Like I should think this is really, really cool. If we keep going down, I think it added some like better images of people, but again, we would just want real people here for the testimonials. And if we keep going down, so yeah, I think really it is quite good. So let's check out Claude. Claude is taking a lot longer, so I'm curious to see what the actual result is going to be. Also, by the way, if you are brand new to AI coding, I definitely recommend both Claude for building landing pages. It does a really good job. I'm on the $20 a month plan, which I do think you would need to be on to really build this out. But AI Studio, ai.dev, you just need a Google account and it's free. So that might be a better option for you to get started with. And the only limitation is you're limited to Google models, but because Gemini 3 is so good now, and we're going to see at the end of the video if it really is the best model, but you're not really limiting yourself in that case if the model is the best. All right, this is actually really good also. I'm surprised by how much Claude did to improve it. And I think it's like a much different version, whereas Gemini 3 just kind of tweaked it and made it a little bit better. The thing that I really like what it did is this font that it added to give it that premium feel here. There's also like a nice, you can see there's like a cursor, like a circle that's following me around. If you look really closely at the cursor, or it might be covered up by the recording software. This again, I still think that the mockups that Gemini did were a little bit better. It still has this button issue with the font, or the font color needs to be white there. Again, really nice. Like I think it did a really good job with like even this, like the big E to start. That's impressive that it came up with that for that section. I actually think I like this section more on Claude than Gemini. Again, I still think I'd prefer the mockup on Gemini, but a lot of what I see here, the CTA is really nice as well. And it also did a really nice job with the copy. So it's something that's really important with any landing page is the copy. And I think that Claude actually did a great job. So it's interesting. Like, this is a prompt that I've used with Claude before of trying to have it not look as much like AI and trying to take it to the next level. And it did a great job then, and it still did a great job. Whereas here with Gemini, as you can see, it still has the same style. Now, I'm sure we could prompt it to be a little bit closer to what Claude just did. But this is also another good example where, like, sometimes for coming up with ideas and brainstorming new designs, you might want to use two different models, because we use the exact same prompt on both Claude and Gemini. I think both ended up good. There's things I like about both of them, and they're actually both just different styles. So you might vibe more with this more kind of modern style that Gemini came up with. And I do think this looks really good. This looks maybe more like a typical SaaS product landing page that you've seen before. It still looks really polished. It still looks really good. I still think overall I would pick this because it is a little bit more polished. But there's things that I like about this. Like, if I want to, maybe I might like this kind of vibe of a little bit more premium, a little bit more just design focused here with this font. It doesn't look like every other SaaS landing page. So there's really pros and cons to both. And I think that's where it is really interesting when you have different models. If you have the exact same prompt, might get completely different designs. And I think that's what's cool about testing these different models. So, okay. We'll stop there with the landing page design, but overall, like, I do think Gemini 3 is really, really good. And yeah, I like it. I think that, like, it is more polished, and that's something that is really important when you're designing and building out a landing page. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Like, do you prefer the Claude one better than this? I do think that they're very different. So it is maybe a bit of personal preference on which direction that it went. And this is also where human taste is going to come into the equation, because you as the human are going to have to say, okay, which one do I like better? And maybe I'm inspired by the Claude version, and I want to start prompting Gemini to be a little bit more like the Claude version. That even gives me an idea of, like, there should be a landing page generator, like with AI. Like, it shouldn't just be Lovable generating like one version, or even Gemini here generating one version. It should generate 6 different versions of the same landing page, and then you should be able to say, I like this one, or I like different parts of different ones. Cool, free. That's just a free business idea for anyone who wants to take it. But I think that would be something cool. So let's jump in now to actually building an AI app. So the difference between that is a landing page is just, the landing page, it's static, it's just information. But an app has a backend, it has logic. It is actually something that users can take action on. So for this prompt, we're going to go a lot more simple than we did with the initial prompt for the landing page. And so I want to build out the idea that we just came up with. So I want to build an AI app to-do list that acts as a manager for the human using it. So people have a really hard time managing themselves. My goal with this app is to help humans solve that problem. And then I wanted to integrate AI where useful. So again, we're going to use the Gemini 3 Pro preview model, which again is free up to a certain limit in the AI Studio. In AI Studio, it can build it doesn't have a database integrated into AI Studio. So that is one area where you would have to export the code connected to something like Supabase, which you absolutely could do. But for just a mockup MVP, it's still going to have data, and it's going to be persistent on the browser. And then it's going to have logic in the back end. And then the AI integrations are going to be coming in from all the Google models. And then if you export it, you just would add your Google API key to make the functionality all work outside of AI Studio. So that is the one thing in this mockup. We're not going to have like the full stack database, and that's not something that AI Studio does. But we also could be building this in Cursor with Gemini 3. So there's many different ways to do it. I just think that AI Studio is a really great way to quickly get started, and then you can sync to GitHub and test it out. So I'm not going to do like the same thing in Lovable, for example, to compare. I'm more just interested to see within a couple prompts how well Gemini 3 does, and give you my initial thoughts on how it compares when I'm coding. So I'm coding almost every day with other models like Anthropic and even other models like Grok and OpenAI GPT-5. So I'll give you my initial thoughts of how well Gemini 3 does. And all the benchmarks say it's supposed to be better or at least as good as the top models. So let's see how well it does. We have our first version that it created. And let's see, let me see how it works. We're going to test it out together. So there's two things that I like to test out or kind of look for when I'm testing out something that AI built. First is functionality. So like, are there bugs? Is it working the way that it's supposed to be working? And then also are the features. And then we're definitely going to want to be adding features over time. And then that's kind of the iteration process. As we add features, we test it, we see if there's bugs. And then from a usability standpoint, we think about what we want to add. So what needs to be done? So let's say I need to record 3 videos record a video about Gemini 3 for YouTube. And then I'll say, edit a video for YouTube to be published. Let's say I need to write a weekly email newsletter. And then let's say maybe we want to add something like go to the gym. And it looks like everything is medium right now, potentially. And then there's also some other buttons. So I don't know what this is going to do. If I click that, it's kind of in analyzing mode. So it looks like it basically created 5 steps with estimated time of how long it's going to take to do each of these steps. And then on the right side, we have this AI manager, which I'm guessing is going to have context to my to-do list. I kind of like that as well. The other thing I can do is click prioritize plan. So let me click that and see, I couldn't process your prioritization right now. So that button didn't seem to work. Clear that. So if I click that, failed to call Gemini API, please try again. 2 errors running the code. Here we go. So auto fix. So I'm just going to click auto fix there and hopefully it's going to be resolved. But so far, like, it seems good. I wouldn't necessarily say it's, at least with this first version, it's a massive difference from Claude. But again, I think where the differences are going to come in are when you have something really complex and it starts to be a lot of lines of code. Like with something smaller, I think that probably any of the top models are going to do a pretty good job. But let's keep going and see how it does as we keep building out. All right, so as I'm adding tasks, again, it's basically saying I can click the sparkle icon, which will generate a plan for each task. And then if I click prioritize plan, it'll go into the chat. So it'll say, I'm your executive manager. I'll help you prioritize and execute what's on your mind. And then basically, because I clicked that prioritize plan, it basically has all the context here. And it looks like, okay, so this is where it added the prioritization. So it changed it from medium for everything to high, medium, low. And it focuses on immediate business impact and logical dependencies. Recording a YouTube video first, then you need to edit it. Writing a newsletter is high priority. Going to the gym, while important, is lower priority in terms of immediate business urgency and flexibility. So that's cool. Honestly, that is really cool. I kind of wish my to-do list that I use today, which is just things, the Things 3 app, would do something like this. It's kind of cool. So let's see what else we could ask it. So what if I ask, can I give me suggestions for what to do at the gym? No, your high priority tasks are recording a YouTube video and writing a newsletter. Focus on those first. The gym is a low priority right now. I kind of love that as like acting like a manager. Usually AI will just do what you say, but that's actually cool. So this is where like there must be a prompt behind the scenes because I asked it to be my manager and help me manage my tasks, that it's going to help me keep me on track. So let me say, okay, fine. How about tips for making a YouTube video about AI coding? Let's see if it actually will help me about this. Okay, focus on a specific practical AI coding project with clear steps. Show the code, explain the AI concept, demonstrate the outcome, get it recorded. Cool, thanks. Can you actually, let's get those high priority items moving now. What's your immediate next step for recording that YouTube video? Can you actually add tasks to the list? I don't know if it can. So that's something that I'll be curious about. So let's say add a task, clean the kitchen. It says task added, but yeah, so it's not, it doesn't actually have the ability. It's saying that this is our list, but this list here, it's not there. So I want to add a feature here. So let's say I want the AI chat to actually be able to add tasks and delete them, modify them, etc. It's definitely very good so far. Like this is also basically one prompt, and it is impressive what it built. Basically giving tools to this AI manager, which is giving the AI manager the ability to actually create these tasks or update them or delete them. The more I think about it as I'm building it, I think I'm going to try to actually turn this into a product for myself, at least first. And I would just like the idea of like an AI manager that keeps me on task, like makes sure that I'm doing the top priority first. And it's just a cool idea as I'm building out. And that's the value of using tools like Gemini 3 and AI Studio to build out these MVPs. And you really get a better feel of an idea the more that you can actually use it. So if you build something out, we're going to have a much better idea of what it's like. Okay, so we can test it out now. I'm in the chat. Let me just see if it can add tasks. So let me just do one. So please add a task, go to the gym. Updating my schedule, go to the gym added. That's actually kind of amazing. Okay, so let's say, I need to record a YouTube video about AI coding. Can you create tasks that help me complete that? So really, I like how quickly it's able to do it. So it created a bunch of tasks here within that. So I think something that I would like it to do is be able to like categorize them. That could be kind of a cool next step. And it kind of created subtasks, but we have this subtask feature as well. But that plan is really not something you can even check off. It's more of just like I guess something to kind of give you an idea, but cool. So let me say, actually, I don't need to record a YouTube video anymore. Delete those tasks. Let's see if it can delete multiple tasks at once. And yeah, it did. It updated the schedule and it deleted all those tasks. So yeah, that's actually really cool. Let me add a few more. So I'll say, let's say clean the kitchen. Let's do edit YouTube video, record YouTube video, write newsletter. And then we can have it prioritize the plan again. And then the other idea that's coming to me as I'm building this is it would be cool if it could maybe every morning, like see what's on my list, email me out what I need to do, help motivate me, maybe give me resources, maybe it could even do research on my behalf. So if one of my tasks is to like record a YouTube video, maybe it could give me a few ideas every morning of what to do. So we could build all of this out. It would take hours and hours to build this out, but all of it definitely would be possible to build. All right, so there we go. It created a strategy, and let's check something off. And then I'm curious if I check off like these 3 things, and then there's these 2 things left. Let me say, now I'll say, can you give me some gym advice? And let's see, because now I've checked the other things off, if it'll do it. I can't give you gym advice. I'm here to help you manage your tasks. All right. Can you help motivate me to go? The task go to the gym is currently pending. Let's get it done. So yeah, it's still some improvement we could do there. But what did I say, like what tasks are outstanding now? So what have I not done? I have 2. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, overall, I am impressed with this. Again, we could take the code, sync it to GitHub. I do need to do even more testing and on more complex app examples and with larger code bases, things like that. But overall, it is really impressive. I think that Google has kind of set itself as one of the leading models, if not the leading model. It always takes time for people to test models out. So a model's going to come out, and then it's not like in one day. You have the benchmarks of what they say that they can do, and people can do benchmarks, but it really takes like a couple weeks for people to use the model, use it in a lot of different use cases, and see how it really works. But at least from my first impression, it is really impressive. And at the very least, it's as good as any model that I've used. And very likely, this is the new top model for other companies to beat. So of course, I'm sure there will be a new model from OpenAI soon to compete with this, a new model from Anthropic. So subscribe to our YouTube channel to be sure to get our hands-on review of those models once they're released. Let me know in the comments what you think of this. And also let me know if there's something else you'd like me to try with the Gemini 3 model, or if there's any ideas that you want me to build out and make a video for. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the next video.